Hi, thanks for tuning into High on Horror. I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to all the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
If you tuned in last season, you heard us review one of our favorite cult classics of recent years, Last Shift. On this episode, we're reviewing Malum, the reimagining of Last Shift of sorts, by the same director, Anthony DiBlasi. And with us today, we have actor Chaney Morrow, who plays the sadistic, satanic cult leader John Malum. He's going to spill his guts to us in an exclusive interview. All that and more, today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. All right, if you hear that train a-rolling, you should know by now, if you listen to this show, that means it's time for Strainwreck. I don't think we always used to do Strainwreck at the beginning of our show, did we? It used to be like 3-4 segments in.
Maybe? I don't know. We've been at this for like almost 2 years, I think.
3 seasons. I mean,
it has been, I guess now it's been more than 2 years. Time is a flat circle.
Well, either way, the point is we decided that, you know what, we want to cruise through the whole episode, so instead of waiting until midway, fuck it, we get started at the beginning. Strainwreck is a segment of our show where we discuss what strain of cannabis we're getting wrecked on. And John, I think you got something fancy for us today, right? Let's talk.
Yeah, it's funny, as I sent the pictures over to Kenny of it, he's literally texted me, was like, how does it smoke? I'm like, I don't know. About to find out, but, trying to type, I said, boutique. To find out, we recorded right this second, but we got some pie crust. It's from
pie crust
from Grow West, Maryland. As the time of this recording, it's July 3rd. Maryland's been recreational, or I'm sorry, adult use is the term they prefer, since July 1st. It was a little bit of a wait in the line out there. The person I had that got me stuff, her name was Stephanie. Super helpful. I think she's a manager there, and we were talking about the prices, and for those of you in Maryland, she said once the novelty wears off for, these non-stoners, prices should stabilize a little bit better. They're better than Jersey, and I mean, I drove all the way to Maryland to get it, so that tells you how well Delaware's medical is.
Correct.
But this is from Grow West, Maryland. It's pie crust. The picture on their website they have for it does not match what was in this bag.
Right, you showed me the nug.
And this is prepackaged, so it isn't like they went and grabbed the wrong thing. If anything, maybe at the grow house or whatever. I don't know how this shit works. But
the nug that you showed me was like green with some orange hairs on it. Orange hairs. It was really nice, but it was not what you showed me on the website.
Yeah, on the Grow West website, it has a ton of purple in it. Even, like I said, I was messaging with Kenny about this, and he was like, I said, these are not the same thing. And he said, not even close. But pie crust here. I was also told apparently this thing has a thing that gives you the tinglies. And in case I was told you want to have a fun night with somebody. The packaging on this is pretty nice.
So you're saying that's weed to smoke if you're trying to fuck? Basically,
that
you were told that by the woman at the dispensary.
By the person that sold it to me.
Wow.
My blind ass. How much is this? This was the gold shelf. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
The lady, I just trusted her. She was like, "Oh, you'll like this for this price," and I said, "Sure, give me that." But it has 23% THC.
Oh, okay.
And pie crust is a sativa-leaning hybrid with a citrus floral aroma, and it is a cross between Malibu pie and grapple cookies.
Grapple cookies?
Grapple cookies.
Never scrapple cookies?
No, scrapple cookies.
I would try.
It's quite horrendous.
I would try a scrapple cookie. All right, light it up, man. Let's hear.
Josh's gonna be mad. I just hit the bar on this. And he doesn't know at this point in editing the episode probably that I just full on bashed the mic stand trying to put down my can of soda during the interview.
Listen, you listeners out there have no idea how much our editor and producer, Josh Hensley, has to do to clean up after us sometimes. And John is definitely making this episode a fucking mess. So if it comes out sounding like it's in one piece, we have you to thank, Josh. Also, yes, I'm kissing your ass because I want you to make this sound good. How's it smoke, John?
I mean, I double hit it, so.
You double hit it? Well, still, how's it smoke?
It tastes nice and smooth. I mean, it, again, doesn't look like the pictures, but works for me.
And look, weed and horror movies go together like peanut butter and chocolate. There's
Go
never go wrong.
together like lamb and tuna fish.
Can never go wrong. And as of right now, it's July 3rd at 8:10, and there's already fireworks going off. So apologies also to our producer Josh and any listeners out there who may be catching some of that.
I saw a meme about
Nothing you can do about that shit.
I saw a pretty funny meme about July 4th. It said a lot of you in America don't know this is your last weekend with 10 fingers. Did you hit this twice?
I just hit it once. Yeah, let me hit it again real quick.
Hit it again.
All right, hold on.
Hold on.
So yeah,
I just punched the table. Josh is going to be flipping his shit this
keep your
episode.
hands to yourself.
Bro, I'm high because also while I was at the dispensary, I'll probably maybe we'll talk about it in future episodes. Going back to the whole weed thing, I actually got some live resin carts for pretty cheap because she said somebody mispriced them and said, "Do you want some?" And I was like, "Yeah, give me 3 of them bitches."
So okay. Strain Wreck is also the segment of our show where, while we're smoking, we discuss current events like, Maryland opening dispensaries and all that. And the horror element now, time to get into like the point here. I wanted to bring up and do a little bit of like a remembrance here for Julian Sands. That is such a fucking tragic story. He was found last week. His remains were found by some hikers. He was missing since January. He was 65 years old, and his remains were found in the wilderness in Mount Baldy. He's known for his roles in Warlock, Arachnophobia, Boxing Helena. Now, I've never met him, but I've never heard of anybody ever saying a bad word about him. He was a complete gentleman and a class act and an old school respected actor. And what a terrible way to go out, man. Like, my heart and, just condolences to his family. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I always praised the dude and talked about him. I'm not a bandwagon jumper. I'm not going to act like he's my favorite actor. But I liked the movies he was in. I appreciate him. I don't ever want to hear that somebody who I grew up watching disappeared in the wilderness and then was found all these months later. That's an absolute tragic ending.
Yeah, and he did some other movies too, like Leaving Las Vegas, Phantom of the Opera, playing the Phantom.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's he was a classic act. He was a class act,
I will say though, you'll never find me dead from hiking. I'm too fat.
Yeah, so just what a tragic thing, hearing about Julian Sands, and yeah, like I said, my condolences, and just what a bummer. Just what a bummer. Like there was just this, thing where everybody, even his brother, had announced like he had long said his goodbyes. He assumed his brother was dead, Julian was dead, as I guess everybody started to once you're gone missing that long in those types of conditions.
For sure.
They assume, but there's always in the back of your mind, he's gonna pop up somewhere. There was even jokes going around online that like somebody's got him like miserying him. He's like tied to somebody's bed and they're making him watch Warlock 1,000 times, and like there was in the back of your mind, like there's always hope until there's not.
Yeah.
And it's just, all I could say, I don't know how it went down, but all I could say is I hope the poor guy didn't suffer, man. Like what a bummer. I didn't mean to bring us down during our strain wreck, but that stuck to me. It's been sitting with me. Like I just keep thinking like it could be him, it could be anybody, like who just goes out to that happening to him just really hits with that. It could just happen to anybody. Anybody can just say, hey, I'm going to go hiking or I'm going to do whatever. And then something just happens that you fucking disappear and then you're not found for months later. Like the world can be a scary place, and on that note, let's get into horror history.
Yeah.
This week in horror history.
All right. Well, Drew sparks the bong over there. Let's get into some horror. Yes. July 3rd, we got Patrick Wilson and Shawnee Smith.
Happy birthday. Dude, I have a problem. I just realized there's not like water in this. We're just fucking like steamrolling this weed.
Yeah, fucking, I guess. I guess on the next, when we're done horror hits, we'll put some water in that bitch.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it still hits pretty smooth. Before I move on to another day, you got anything to say about Patrick Wilson or Shawnee Smith?
I said happy birthday before
just
I
happy
interjected.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
You had a mouthful of smoke.
Yep.
But Yeah, basically staples of the horror genre at this point.
Yeah, and Patrick Wilson actually directed Insidious 5 that we're going to be seeing and reviewing soon. So it's going to be nice to see. It's the first time he's directed an Insidious movie. It started with James Wan, then it went to Lee Winnell, and now it looks like Patrick Wilson's given it a shot. He has been a part of the whole thing. I love how he champions horror, and he will stick with franchises despite being like a well-known actor and a bigger name. So definitely, I like him. Shawnee Smith, she's been around forever. Obviously, the best thing she's been in for me was The Blob, the remake, but I know for you it was Saw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like the Saw series, even with the terrible ones. I think we've probably talked about it before. First three are really, really solid.
I don't even like the third one though. That again,
Nah.
to me, that's like how people like Hellraiser 1 through 3, and then like you and I only like 1 and 2. People like Saw 1 through 3, and I can only take 1 and 2. Honestly,
Okay, 1 and 2, I feel like I like 3, but 1 and 2 are way better.
Yeah.
Part 3, I feel like was a solid conclusion to the story. It felt wrapped up.
It ended decently. I'll forgive you that because that was before that fucking Hoffman became involved.
Yeah,
and
but
became
I
a
love
star,
Hoffman.
Right?
That was my guy. I fucking love him. After the third one, the only people that were decent actors, and that's saying much for a Saw series, but were Costas, whatever his name is, the one that plays Hoffman,
Yeah.
Tobin Bell. Shawnee Smith was kind of out at that point. And the one that played Jill Tuck did an okay job. Everybody else was horrible in those movies.
I agree. But it's funny how even though I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the actor, but it's like you play Hoffman, you're the star of like 3 or 4 of these movies in a row, like literally like the face of the movie. Well, not really, because they still just promote the puppet or fucking dead ass Jigsaw as John Kramer as on the posters. But
He died in the second one.
No, the third one. Third one.
Yeah,
It's the third one.
Yeah. The third
yeah.
one he died, but he still managed to be in every one.
And on all the posters, but it's like the dude that plays Hoffman. It's like, how do you star in 3, 4 movies? I don't even know that go to theaters that are doing well at the box office every Halloween, and then people still don't know the actor's name. You mention him, and they'll be like, who? You know, the dude that took over the shitty Saw movie. When the Saw movies went down the shitter, the dude that was like the bad guy in all of them.
His
that
first
guy.
name's like Costas, but I know his last name starts with an M, but I can't pronounce it.
I
liked him.
Again, I couldn't even tell you.
All right, so now we'll move on to July 5th. Eva Green and Marilyn Burns. Rip.
Yeah, Marilyn Burns, R.I.P.
Rip.
Rip. Yeah. Marilyn Burns is Sally Hardesty from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. She.
Oh my God! Do you think they would have ruined her character as much in the Texas Chainsaw rebootish sequel?
The Netflix thing? Nah, I don't. I think hopefully they would have treated her with a little more respect than throwing her 20 feet across the street. Like that shit was ridiculous.
Man.
But yeah, R.I.P. to Marilyn Burns for sure. She was a fine. Final girl for sure. And Ava Green, she's been in her body of work, stands out for itself. She's doing a great job too. Nice gothic actress too. You gotta love that.
Yeah. And moving on to the next day, July 6th, we got Janet Leigh's birthday.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis's mama, aka the shower scene chick in Psycho.
The shower, sour.
Marianne Crane,
God,
I believe.
I got
right?
all tongue twisted on that
terrible
one.
with names, and I've seen Psycho a billion times. I have a poster hanging on my wall, but I believe it's Marianne Crane. I'm gonna ride with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I don't. A funny thing, besides that and H2O, I don't think I've ever seen anything Janet Leigh's ever been in.
Yeah, me either. July 7th, Maniac Cop 3 Badge of Silence in 1993. It was filmed in 92.
Okay.
I don't need to say anything about that. And also Species from 1995. I would much rather watch Species.
Well, look, okay, Maniac Cop 3 is definitely the worst of the 3 Maniac Cops, but it's so much fun. It's not worst as in like it's terrible. It's just like my least favorite. I really like all 3 of the Maniac Cop movies. I used to like the first the most, but then as the years went on, I think I prefer 2 because it's just like nonstop horror action. Like the action in that movie, him walking around, like the Maniac Cop himself walking around on fire and shit. It's badass. And if anyone out there hasn't watched Maniac Cop, the films, go get that. Go fix that. They're directed by William Lustig, who directed Maniac and Vigilante and more. William Lustig didn't direct the 3rd film, so I don't think that's a coincidence as to why it's the weakest one, but it's still good. Going on to Species. Dear God, I still have the biggest crush on Natasha Henstridge, dude. Natasha Henstridge, there it is. Species changed my life when I saw it. I mean, I was a kid, and it was the sexiest and grossest thing I'd seen at that time, man. I'll tell you, though, being completely honest, every time I watch this movie, I legit ask myself, would you? Would you let her seduce you, or would you kill the fucking thing? And I gotta say that it really depends on my mood or how high I am. I end up conflicted. Like, I think I'd hit it. If I were in Species, I'd happily be one of the suckers that dies after getting laid. Sign me up. I would have been the pool dude.
It's like
in the pool scene.
The only thing I could compare to it is watching the Buffy series with Nicole. I was like, Miss French would have got me.
But I mean, that goes to say, how hot are you when you're an alien that literally just wants to breed with a male and then man and then kill him? And I'm still like, I might do it. Like, you know, like that's a babe, man, total babe.
And moving on from that, July 8th, we got Kevin Bacon birthday.
All right, happy birthday, Kevin Bacon.
He's a
Friday
local guy, not Delaware, but Philadelphia.
Yep, Friday the 13th, of course, and Stir of Echoes and everything else he's done. He's done a huge body of work. Speaking of Friday the 13th, I forgot to tell you this. Me and some guys were talking at work. I don't know if I told you this or not. We're talking about Friday the 13th and how you could say shit. You know how I like to say shit differently to trip people up? Fry in the dirt deep. Bro, you ever watch Fry in the Dirt Deep? That one doesn't go over so well. Everybody's been calling me out on it. They're like, what? And I was like, Friday the 13th. They're like, that's not what I thought you said. So just wanted to let you know.
Fry in the Dirt Deep. Just making up sentences.
That's what happens when you're baked and at work.
July 8th, Phantasm 2, 1988, and The Descent, 2005.
I'll let you start on those.
I mean, I would take The Descent over Phantasm 2 if I had to pick between the two. I don't even think it's close. I mean, Phantasm 2 is all right, but I mean, The Descent's that's one of those movies. I feel like since you had me watch it, when I talk to people, I'll be like, "Have you ever seen The Descent?" No. Oh, you got to fucking watch it. And everybody would be like, agreed. "Isn't that like rock climbing or like cave exploring?" I'm like, yeah. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you try to hide the fact that it's a creature movie from them. I do the same shit. I remember I did that to you, and I just wanted to say though about like, you know, The Descent. I feel like it's the same way with you. I can't remember the last time you told me that you've watched it, and I can't remember the last time I watched it. But it's one of those all-time greats where it's like Halloween, where like I can go 5 years without watching it. I know how fucking great it is. It's not going to change.
My favorite all-time movie is The Godfather. I can't tell you last time I watched it.
Right, but is it going to be any less of a movie the next time you watched it?
It's
Hell
like
no.
the same thing with like maybe newer. I mean, still 30 plus years old, but Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
it's not on my all-time favorite list, but every like handful of years, I'll put it on and I'll go, was this really as good as I remember, or do I just like think it's better? And every time I watch it, I'm like, no, that's a good
movie, right? I just
want right now I'm sitting here thinking still, I'm like, is Pulp Fiction really that good?
Yeah.
And then like next time I watch, I'll be like, god damn, yeah, it is that good.
It is absolutely. But yeah, I want to step in here and bring up Phantasm 2 because to me, it's the only worthy sequel in the series. A lot of people prefer it to the first film due to like the faster pacing and more action. I still prefer the first though because it's creepier. And The Descent, again, like I said, I'll avoid saying too much in the hopes that we do a review of it. But I just want to say that every person, including John and I, consider it to be one of the best horror films of all time, and I consider it in my top 10 personally. And if you want a good creature flick without stupid, annoying characters, without tits and gore, with genuine scares and suspense, then look no further. And there is gore, but it's not like a Lucio Fulci film. You're not getting bathed in blood, but goddamn things do get bloody. There's literally a fucking vat of blood. So yeah.
At the very least, it's one of the best movies of the aughts. Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, for the first decade, like. At the very least, it's one of the best from its decade. And
if you really want to get somebody, don't, like I said to John a minute ago, do not tell them that it's a creature movie. It starts off as like a cave exploring movie.
And being claustrophobic, like that fucks with me enough.
But even if you're not claustrophobic, it will make you claustrophobic because these girls, these friends get caught in this cave, it's a new cave. They have no idea where they are and how to get out. And you just feel for them like they're running, they don't know where they're going. They're trying to find their equipment. They're losing equipment. They're getting injured. And it is like a panic attack on film. And then like midway point, you get introduced to, oh yeah, by the way, there's fucking monsters down here too. So if anybody out there wants to skit somebody and startle the shit out of them, show them The Descent and don't tell them it's a monster movie.
Well said. So let's just move on to PPA. Puff Puff Ass.
Puff Puff Ass.
Yo, man. Puff, puff, pass.
Puff Puff Ask is a segment of our show where we read off the messages that you listeners write into us on social media at highonhorror420 and through email at highonhorror420@gmail.com and or our website highonhorror.com. I'll start. A friend of ours, William, actually asked us, why does everyone keep saying that Evil Dead Rise doesn't feel like an Evil Dead film? And I can attest that I've seen that several times on like social media.
I just saw it today in a horror group. Yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, I just watched the new Evil Dead movie," and they even said, "I don't know why, but it doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie."
Well, look, shooting straight here, my answer to that is I don't know why people think that or say that. I'm not one of the, I hate people who say like, I'm a true horror fan, that they're swinging their horror dick as if like, there's like this, because I've liked horror longer than you and know so much more, my opinion's more valid. I mean, I guess to a degree that can be true, but like I hate people who just brag and think that because they watch horror so much. Like, I'm not that guy, and I am that guy. I watch all this horror and I don't ever brag. Like I said, I didn't even tell John, I didn't even tell people I won the Evil Dead contest. You were telling people. I don't brag. I don't like that stuff. But I will say that being a lifelong fan of the Evil Dead films, like since I was like middle school, I can tell you that there are a lot of fans that think that their fandom and opinions are gold and that it holds the most water. So, they love flapping their gums and spewing ignorance and shitty opinions. And the truth is, this is 100% a fucking Evil Dead film. And I think any real Evil Dead fan could see that. It's the ones trying too hard or who's so stuck in, like there was literally some dude that, like, remember I've unfriended somebody on Instagram because he posted a video, a picture giving the fingers saying, like, fuck all you people going to see Evil Dead Rise, support the old, fuck the new. And I'm like, these are the type of people that are saying it's not an Evil Dead film. You guys are fucking assholes, and you make horror look terrible. Like, seriously, you really do. Like you're not open-minded at all. You're closed-minded in your shitty opinions, and then everybody starts thinking, damn, horror fans are assholes and are egotistical. Not the good ones, not the real ones. It's the assholes who want to show off and act like they know everything when all they know is their own shitty opinion and are too closed-minded to open their mind to what the truth is. So fuck those guys. Anyway, those who say it doesn't take place in a cabin and that's why it isn't an Evil Dead fan, shut the fuck up. Where was the cabin in Army of Darkness? And I just want someone to tell Bruce Campbell to his face that this isn't an Evil Dead film. I really do. So the people saying that are completely ignorant, and I say fuck them, don't listen to them.
So I'm not as passionate about this as clearly you are.
Fuck you.
I mean, I don't understand why people are saying that either. I don't know what else you want from it. Because somebody's like, oh, it's just an Evil Dead because there's an evil book that they read from and said these spells and there was deadites. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
People getting possessed, you got to dismember them. There's puking, gore.
Yeah, so that
eyeballs.
Just makes it an Evil Dead movie?
There's homages to other Evil Dead movies. There's eyeballs being...
Bruce Campbell's literally in it.
Right. Anyway.
But, like, yeah, you're way more worked up about it than I am. Like, I just don't understand their opinion. Like I said, I saw it today, and I just went, all right, and kept scrolling. Like, I'm not even going to engage with it. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it, too.
But, yeah, I don't know why people don't think it's an Evil Dead movie. You could say, I don't think it was a good Evil Dead movie. That's fine, but I don't understand that. I don't like it, so it's not an Evil Dead movie. Yeah. And the whole, support the old. Okay, Bruce Campbell and
Sam Raimi
were producers.
Exactly.
I don't remember correctly, but I might even think executive producers.
They were,
on it.
and I believe Sam Raimi even had a writing credit.
So, what's your leg to stand on that one? Like, the original people are involved in it, so by seeing that, you would be supporting the old crew. Like,
right. This is the same dude that I'm talking about. The same asshole supports Rob Zombie's Halloween and was so happy to shit on Halloween Ends when it came out because he loves Rob Zombie's Halloweens. So fuck it, I'm not even gonna shit on Rob Zombie's Halloweens. But what isn't Rob Zombie's Halloweens considered new because they're remakes? Like, what constitutes to some of these assholes, opinionated people out there, like out with the fuck the new, support the old 2007? Like that's considered like like new to you or old to you. Like, so I just, again, you're gonna be like, oh, Rob Zombie Halloween, but fuck the new. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry.
All right, so we'll move on to our second question.
Mad again.
Jonathan P. Johnny P. want to know, did you guys order the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game yet? You guys should do a live stream of you playing. I can't wait to play.
Oh yeah, man.
It looks good. And I mean, it's being done by God Media, the people that did the Friday the 13th game.
And that game's awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're shutting stuff down on that game, but I did see somebody post something from the game. It looks like before the servers go down, that they're just going to give everybody everything. Like, you'll get all the kills,
all the Jason outfits,
you'll get all
skins.
the outfits,
Oh, wow.
everything. They're just going to give it away, I guess, because they can't really sell it anymore.
Wow,
But,
that's awesome.
And I think stuff's like heavily discounted as is, but since they don't have the license for that anymore, they're moving over to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which, I mean, I enjoyed the Jason game for all its flaws and everything.
Yeah.
I'd like to, at some point, hopefully, have some people on from Gun Media to talk about the game.
That would be awesome.
I still want to see a Halloween game, even though you can play as Michael in Dead by Daylight. It's not the same thing.
Right.
But,
It'll happen. It'll be huge. It'll be fucking huge.
I mean, you could always play the Atari 2600 one, where you're just walking around the floor and Michael's just stabbing a knife like it's Halloween 2 and he got shot in the eyes. But anyway, are you getting it, Drew?
I haven't pre-ordered it, but I definitely plan to get it. I'm just gonna like order it probably digitally. I don't think I'm gonna get the disc. I'll probably just buy it like on the store. But I definitely will be playing it for sure. Especially because when I met Kane Hodder a few months ago, found out that he's playing Leatherface in the game.
Nice.
So I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. So I definitely plan to get nice.
It's not CJ Graham, but nice.
I don't drink much, but I was thinking, for this game might be a up till 4 or 5 in the morning. Getting stoned and drinking some beers type of night, and I feel like you'll be there with me.
We still got to play the Evil Dead game.
Still, I haven't played it.
I
once,
played
so
a little bit of it.
I need to get it. It pissed me off. I got salty because it was on sale for like $12.99, and I went to buy it the next day, and it was back up to like 40 or something. I went, oh no! I had the money. I was just so mad that I missed the sale that I was like, I ain't buying this shit.
I think they gave it away for free on PlayStation.
Yeah, I have Xbox though, so I suck.
Plus, I mean, I've mostly just been playing WWE 2K23. I think I've sunk like 60 hours into that since like March.
Damn. Yeah, you big on the WWE stuff.
Dude, that's just fun to play. Just throwing people through tables and shit. Anyway.
Yeah, all right, well, if any of you listeners out there have any questions for us, reach out on social media at highonhorror420 or email us at highonhorror420@gmail.com or visit our website at www.highonhorror.com. Now let's get into our review of Malum.
All right, today's film, Malum, is a 2023 American horror film directed by Anthony DeBlasi. Malum stars Jessica Sulu, Eric Olson, Candace Cook, and today's guest, Chaney Morrow. Jessica Sulu stars as Jessica Lauren, whose dad, Will, played by Eric Olson, was also a cop. Will died exactly 1 year ago, shortly after participating in a raid on a compound full of cultists, led by John Malum, played by today's guest, Chaney Morrow, and who worship a demon and killed people to feed his power. And Jessica's father ends up committing suicide at his own hand after shooting several of the other cops in the station, because he just couldn't save that fourth girl. He saved 3 of them, but he wasn't able to save that fourth girl, and that fucked him up. So, Jessica, she's a rookie cop who willingly takes the last shift at a newly decommissioned police station in an attempt to uncover the mysterious connection between her father's death and the vicious cult. If this sounds familiar, it's I compare it to if you take Evil Dead and with Evil Dead 2, I kind of feel like this is Last Shift in Malum.
There's
fair. A lot of crossover.
That's fair.
It's a lot of the same stuff, but not completely. That's how I
very
feel about
fair.
it.
That's a very good way to look at it.
And again, also kind of like Evil Dead 2, bigger budget to it.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I don't really know what the I don't know what the inspiration was behind it. I remember, I wish that I knew that I was going to bring this up, or I would have looked it up in email. But we had gotten an email from a producer about a year ago. I remember it was a female, and she sent us basically an update saying, like, hey, I guess because we interviewed Joshua Michael about Last Shift, I remember we got like a press email announcing that like the movie was being made, and that Anthony DiBlasi was like remaking Last Shift and like reimagining it to be darker and on a bigger budget and bigger scope and all of these things. And I remember like at one point I was like, why? But at another point, on the other hand, I was like, well, I mean, if the same dude wants to redo it and I liked the first one, then there has to be something to it. He has to want to remake it for some reason, with the other one being so good, you know?
I'm more into it if the original person's remaking it. It's like, okay, well, obviously there's something they see that they can expand, as opposed to just like, somebody 10 years later comes along, remakes it, and it's a whole different...
Right. To me, what I saw when I read the email was it seemed to me like Anthony DiBlasi made Last Shift with what he could, and it worked out really well for him. But I feel that he had like a bigger vision in mind that he couldn't maybe achieve, and then like he found the resources to make the movie that he wanted to make, and that's how it came off to me, was like a redo the way I originally intended it. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how it comes off to me. So yeah, like you said, the fact that it's remade by the same director, that's part intriguing too. Because like, why would he want to remake his own movie? There has to be something different, something new, something that he wants to redo or rectify. I don't know, but yeah, that's what also intrigued me.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing that really improved were the effects. Agreed. Where we're definitely a step up. I think maybe that's why with the bigger budget, the effects could be done better. We're just kind of getting into spoilers here because truthfully, if you've seen Last Shift, you kind of know what to expect. There are some differences, but yeah, there's no reason doing a plot rundown to a movie we've kind of already done a plot rundown. And I'm not trying to oversimplify and make it sound like, oh, this is just a carbon copy of it. It's not, but
it's the same gist. Yes. It's literally the same gist. And the thing is,
we just maybe get the stuff a little bit in a different route.
Yeah, and this is a laid back discussion here. So there are going to be spoilers. There's even spoilers in our discussion with Chaney that we'll get into in a few minutes here.
Oh yeah, Now that made me remember my spoilers. I was going to say, like, I feel like he might have redid it for the effects for one of them, because like you bring it up in the interview, the pentagram head, that thing. When the first time I saw it, I went, oh shit, that thing was nice.
Yeah, like I think to me, I think that overall, I guess like what I really like, I guess, is I think that Malum is a solid movie, like 100%. Like I don't own it on physical, but I bought it digitally. I will own it on physical. I'm hoping that they give it a steelbook treatment or something. But I think that it delivers on being brutal and having some absolutely sick and fucking awesome visuals. Like we said, the effects, the makeup, all that. I love it. It's there's some things that I think were done better in Malum, but some things that I think were done better in Last Shift. Like, while I think the makeup effects and overall quality, paint job and everything is better in Malum, Bashface Betty in the original Last Shift, when she's under the desk, I thought that she looked like way creepier because she looked like she'd been beaten to death. That to me was more disturbing than like the creature effect that's in Malum that she has. But like, again, the creature effect in Malum, it's much better. It's nicer. It's got teeth everywhere. It's like, it's beautiful. It's beautifully wicked to look at. But it's like, I'm not judging it on looks, judging it on like watching the movie. The way Bashface Betty looked in Last Shift really fucked me up. Like, it was hard to look at her. And then, whereas in Malum, it's more like you can't take your eyes off it. So it's kind of like two effects. So I feel like they complement each other really well, both movies.
That's fair. And like I feel like, to drive it home again, like Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2. Like, it's kind of that remake where there's a lot of the same stuff, same story. We just, as I said, just take some different routes to get there.
Definitely.
Like the effects are solid in this movie. Like, there's nothing that looks bad. Like, that effects team, well done.
The blood and everything. Yeah, everything looked absolutely solid. Looked absolutely sinister. I will say, I'm not. I guess for the sake of spoilers, I won't say what the very last thing that happens in the movie is, but I will say that the last shot of the movie, I remember I pointed that out to you. I said the last shot of the movie, like the last 10 seconds of the movie, is just like it's so sinister. But it's beautiful. Like the cinematography, the lighting, the design, it looks so wicked. But you're at the same time, you're like, it looks fucking awesome. It's beautiful to look at. And I guess in that way, Last Shift, I can't say the same for Last Shift. Last Shift wasn't really like a pretty movie to look at, and whereas this one, so I guess in that way it's more well shot. But I think that the thing is, this movie just came out too close to Last Shift, and that's why it's being compared. And things like our performances by like Chaney Morrow and stuff like that, and Malum, they're getting like kind of compared to and looked at in the same light as Last Shift. And like that's the only thing that I dislike about this scenario is I feel like I wish that people could just look at Malum as its own movie, because even us in our discussion, you can't help but rope that Last Shift in. And it's like I just wish that there had been enough time between movies where Malum could stand on its own without like it having to be a conversation about comparing or this and that. But I think over time it will. Both movies are going to find their own crowd that people aren't going to know, and somebody's eventually going to go, hey, I just watched this movie Malum and it was really good, and then their friend's going to go, I watched a movie called Last Shift, it's kind of the same plot, and then they're going to go, oh shit, and so that'll happen eventually as time goes on.
Yeah, I think I would give the movie like 7.4-ish.
7.4, that's good. Yeah.
Well, what about you?
Well, again, I think that of all the things that they did better in Malum, which there's a lot, I can, they did a lot better. Like I said, and even in regards to just making the movie more watchable because it's prettier to look at. It's in a sinister way. Would you say that it's pretty to look at? I don't mean it's sunflowers and sunlight and I mean like it's like if you're a fan of horror and you're a fan of like lighting and cinematography and sets and stuff like that, like set pieces rather, you're gonna really dig this movie. I really like the way that it captures your eyes. You can't take your eyes off of it, the whole movie, the creatures, everything. But what I think that Malum failed to do, that Last Shift did, was deliver on that pure dread. I don't feel that Malum captured that dread that Last Shift had. And I mean, the suspense in Last Shift was borderline too much. Like you almost didn't. There was some scenes where I was actually being me. I'll watch anything. I've watched the fucking Fred Vogel, fucking August Underground trilogies. I can watch whatever. I whatever. But watching some things in Last Shift, and even like the chair spinning in the room when the cop's looking, and then in one scene there's somebody in the chair, and then the next scene there's not. The dread.
There's just a stack of chairs.
Yes, just the dread and the suspense of Last Shift did not carry into Malum. I didn't go through Malum like biting my nails like I did with Last Shift, but Malum delivered on very good acting. I really like the story expansion. I really like how they went. It wasn't just, Jessica Lauren's father died. It was, he died because now he took out a police station because the cult had worn off on him or affected him. And you get a better understanding of the characters and, why she's not suspected. Whereas in the first one, she was just kind of talked, like people talked to her like shit for no reason. Both movies are good side by side. I think Malum is a better crafted movie. I don't know which one I like more. It doesn't really matter because they're both great. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
So we're pretty much right around same area on that one. All right. Well, then let's get on with our guest here, Chaney Morrow, and we'll have him on to talk more about the film.
Today's guest is known for his roles in such films as Wrong Turn 2021 and the very popular Halloween slasher film Haunt. And he's the lead antagonist of Malum. Welcome, Chaney Morrow. Thanks for being on High on Horror.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, so look, man, first question, I have to ask this. You're on High on Horror, so, man, do you partake in the devil's lettuce?
I do. I do.
Do you have a favorite way to consume smoking edibles?
I'm pretty old school in that way. I prefer the a doobie.
Hell yeah.
Just straight, just a smoker for It's all pretty wonderful, but I'm more or less just a regular smoker.
Do you vape?
Not really. I mean, I have, but not regularly. No.
Yeah, that's us. I mean, we pretty much like everything, but there's nothing like just good old classic Flower.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing.
And I've seen you said some of your first experiences with horror were Nightmare Part 4 and the Thriller music video, and that you love 80s horror.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite movies from the 80s?
Well, I got a real fondness for the Elm Street trilogy and the Halloween series and Friday the 13th, all the staples that everybody likes. But
Right.
there's a lot of stuff in the 80s that kind of fell through the cracks, or would later wouldn't be as popular at the time, but would later kind of take off. I was a big fan of the sleepaway camp movies.
Hell yeah.
1, 2, and 3, just because they're so much fun, and they only get sillier and sillier.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are like just completely different from the first one. I still love the first one, but 2 and 3 are just like batshit ridiculous.
Yeah, and The Thing is my all-time personal favorite horror movie. I would
Top
say
3 for me.
Yeah, absolute classic.
It's that subgenre of creature, sci-fi creature film. Man, that's my gold standard right there.
Yeah, that's a good gold standard to have.
Yeah, that's a damn good one. Let's say I think that Hellraiser 2 never really got the love that it appreciated, or as much as I appreciate it. I don't think it ever got the love it really deserved. Maybe it does now with this big Hellraiser comeback.
Yeah, John and I always liked part 2. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Flicks like some of them old trauma movies, like Toxic Avenger, shit like that. That's always kind of had its own audience. But I grew up kind of watching it and loving them. In fact, I came across one. I think it was made in the early '90s. I came across it just a couple nights ago and watched it, and remembered seeing it as a kid. I must have been 10, maybe 10 years old. I was like, damn, this looks familiar. And it was Sorority House Massacre 3, but it was then going by a different name. And now the actual name of it escapes me. It's the one in the high rise with the lingerie ladies being chased by the Orville Ketchum. That was those are a lot of fun to watch. So that took me back.
Well, let me ask you one personally.
Anything that played on the USA Network back in the early '90s that played real late at night, or Monster Vision. Those are the flicks I really love. The creature features.
Well, what about this movie? Actually, I was just talking to my wife about this one. I'm going to throw this out there. You had mentioned like 80s movies that people haven't seen before, and here's one I never hear anybody talk about: 976 Evil.
Yeah. Stephen Jeffries. I think Englund directed that too, didn't he?
Correct. Robert Englund's directorial debut. Yeah, that's one of those movies that, like, when people bring up 80s movies, I name it because I'm like, somebody has to show love for this type of shit.
Yeah, that's a good one too, man. That was a excellent little flick. The sequel's a little hammier, but the first one's got some good creep to it. Was that Stephen Jeffries' Fright Night?
Yep.
Fella. Yeah. Evil Ed. Yeah, that's a good flick.
So as I mentioned when we introduced you on the show, you were in Wrong Turn and Haunt and other horror films besides Malum. What did you find rewarding about acting in horror movies?
They're okay. It wasn't something I really that damn lettuce. Or was it something I really set out to do? Like, it wasn't my goal. It's a very happy accident, but it was my love of horror that kind of it allowed me to have so much fun in the parts, because I liked horror so much, and I was seen every Wrong Turn flick, up to that point, and saw what the new one was kind of offering, which I appreciated, and I thought it was awesome that they're taking a whole new kind of spin on it. So my knowledge of them, like previously, I think helps me personally, kind of gets me comfortable really quickly. And so I approach it kind of just ready, man. Like I'm usually just ready to go at whenever I'm needed, you know.
Yeah, and getting into Malum here. Were you familiar with Last Shift before you were cast in Malum?
Yes, I was. I'd seen it probably maybe a year. I think it had already been out for maybe 2 years when I saw it, and I really liked it and thought, man, you know, never really hear about this flick. Like, this is really good.
Yeah.
And then down the pike, it had come to me as the Last Shift reimagining.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't actually, I don't think they named it, or it was officially titled Malum until maybe a month or two before it came out. Which was a real fun surprise when they said, "Hey, we're going to call it Malum." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, cool."
Yeah, your name's the title of the movie. That's pretty awesome.
Like, that was me. Cool.
Well, in regards to Malum, I wanted to know, how did you get the role of John Malum, and also, like, what appealed to you about playing a cult leader?
How I got it was that they were going to film it in Kentucky, and one of the bases of my agency that I'm with is in Louisville and Cincinnati, and they came to seeking certain roles from the area, and the scene I read was a really intense one. I think it was one of the scenes like near the end, and the read that I gave wasn't entirely unlike what you see in the movie. Like, I kind of felt it immediately when reading. I'm like, this is right up my alley, man. Like, I could really dig into this. And about a week later, I had a phone conversation with the casting director, I think, maybe a producer, but Anthony DeBlasi, and we talked a little bit, and I think he could tell that I was on the right track for his vision. Mm-hmm. And it helped that he had, I'm a huge Clive Barker fan, and he came up under Clive Barker and was a part of some of my favorite movies, Meat Train, Midnight Meat Train. I always loved that one. He worked on Lord of Illusions, which I always thought was awesome. And I got some Lord of Illusion-y vibes from the script. Because remember the cult leader in that, scary son of a bitch. Like, he was awesome. And his name, the actor Daniel Von Bargen, but the character name escapes me, but it was a sweet name.
I don't. It's been years since I've seen it, but that was a damn good movie. I haven't seen it. It's a magician movie. Yeah, it's been a while, but
it's totally worth a rewatch, man. There's so much awesome shit in it that it's lightning in a bottle. That flick. I really liked it. Anyway, after this conversation, I remember it ended with, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, it's like, hey man, just, do I got the part, or, as we get off the phone and I don't got it, I'll be pretty damn sad. And they said, we'll let you know, but keep your phone on. They always do that. And they called me a little bit later that night, man, announced it was on, and then I dug in. I didn't go back to The Last Shift. I didn't rewatch that. But I certainly sunk into the cult leader aspect. Mostly just, I was fascinated with the charisma of a cult leader. To have that kind of control over people. It fascinates me in a way, like, what the hell do you have to say? How do you behave, to get someone to really listen and follow you, and do these crazy things, and more so just to believe the shit that you're saying. That's what fascinated me. So I tried to really focus on the personality aspect. And another thing with me is, once you can have everything mapped out, but once you get into the costume and stuff, it's subject to change. And once I got the costume complete and it was ready to go, that really added to how I was, because I loved it. I wish I had just taken it at the end of the when I was all done. I should have just taken it, because I love that turtleneck, man.
Yeah,
the turtleneck was sweet, and the jacket, and walking through the police station and shit. Like, this is cool.
Yeah, you definitely looked cool, man, for sure. And yeah, that's the thing. In Last Shift, the character's name was John Michael Payman, and now it's been changed to John Malum. And you said you didn't, rewatch Last Shift before taking the role, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that, actually. You wanted to do your own thing. So, like, besides character, and like you said, like your wording and how you can control people, what did you want to bring to this version of the movie?
I wanted it to be 100% different, which is why I didn't rewatch the movie, because I didn't remember a whole lot about that aspect of it. It wasn't super prominent in Last Shift. I mean, you saw him and stuff, but the character, how far he went, wasn't a part of it. Shit, what was the question?
Oh, I was just wanting to know, what did you want to bring to the role?
I wanted to bring something that was scary, but not at first glance. I wanted to be there to be this darkness behind a pretty pleasant face. I was more focused on what was going on inside the head and how to present it in a way that didn't look like I was trying to chew scenery or fold my mustache like a Shakespeare bad guy. I am, just really chew it up. I wanted to be as realistic, and I would watch the girls also. I would watch their performances and see how they were playing it, and I used a lot of what they were doing to fuel mine also. And by figuring out how the flock was ticking, it made it easier for me to think I could kind of control what was going on. So I wanted it to be a very controlled evil, I guess, is what.
Okay, that makes sense.
I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be really effective, but in no way over the top or hamish.
Yeah, and like you said, not a lot of people have seen Last Shift, but the people that have seen it absolutely love it. Did you feel any pressure or nerves knowing how well the original was received?
I didn't until after the fact, and I guess I felt it a little as we're waiting for the movie to come out, and the trailer was a big hit, but it was almost 50-50 with people excited about it and other people just wondering, like, most of them didn't know it was de Blasi doing it. They're just kind of stupidly commenting on shit without knowing stuff, but that's, expect that. This movie isn't 10 years old. It was great. Why would you do this? But it's bullshit. But I'm thinking, hey, wait till you see it. You're going to love it. Right. Like, you're going to love it. I think it kicked up the notch a little bit. I'm not saying it was a better movie. They're different. But I think it kicked up the notch. But after the movie came out, there were people that loved it, and there were people that preferred Last Shift so much that hearing that was a little jarring. But I have experienced negativity before. With movies, there's always a bad review somewhere. It was a little jarring though.
I think they're both really good movies. Like, they're very good companion pieces, and I think if you like Last Shift, then you're easily going to like Malum, because it has such a bigger budget and a wider scope, so I don't really understand that criticism. But yeah, I think both movies are badass, man, and you did a great job. And
thanks a lot, man.
And speaking of how you were talking about, like, your get-up and everything, how long did that makeup process take when you were, like, wearing the teeth and the eyes and, like, the bag over your head and shit?
Oh, man. Well, there were a couple of different setups. Like, there's a live John, then there's newly like hung corpse John that she finds in the morgue, like at one point. Then there's year-old corpse with the teeth and shit. And then the final bit, you know, the transformation when the low god, when he becomes the Redeemer, Malum the Redeemer. That final one there was the most arduous. I think that maybe took, and you know, the team was great, man. Russell FX, they did the new Hellraiser flick also, and nice. The gore in that, you know, there was some gnarly shit in that movie too. But these guys knocked it out quickly, man. I think the longest I ever sat for that final bit, which I think we maybe did it 2 separate times, was maybe 2 hours.
Oh wow, okay.
Maybe 2 hours. You know, it was usually a couple people working on me at once. And I mean, they were good, man. They really, the airbrush technique, all this stuff, I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, like the veins in your face and stuff. Yeah,
it was incredible, man. All with like airbrushed and just fantastic. These guys were so good. Watching them put together the fella Ben that played the Temple Baron, the really tall monster. Watching him work with that was a trip, man. Because he was just scary as shit to look at already, and you see him walking down the hall to go to set, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony DiBlasi really has a way of like bringing like a vision to his movies. All of his movies, like both Last Shift and this, and even Casadaga, they all have something that stand out about them that make them unique. And I've never seen someone actually make a demon with like an actual pentagram face with the little circle around it. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was cool, man. He's such a sweet dude, very, very smart, you know. But boy, when it comes to writing, he's got a fascinating mind for horror. Like for horror, he really does, man. It's incredible. Like, dude, wow. And I guess some of these things come to him in his dreams, you know, and he wakes up and writes the stuff down.
I mean, with him being how he is, I feel like, you know, this movie is so dark and toned that behind the scenes, it had to be a lot of fun. Like, am I correct in that? And do you have a favorite behind the scenes moment you could share with us?
Oh yeah, behind the scenes was a lot. There was never. Everybody was smiling. You know, there was a lot got done. Things were on time. Favorite story. I had really good experience all around. There is one fun bit I thought was fun, and that's the way DiBlasi he does this to people, and it's funny, man. I'm sitting. It's the bit where it's near the end, and they reveal the corpse John in the chair, and she's walking up to him, and like I wake up, you know, and spot her. We did that a couple times, and as we reset to do it again, he comes up and he whispers to me. He's like, "All right at the end." He's like, "Right when she gets really, really close, just scream right in her face." And you know, it's been silent this whole time. So she comes up to do it, man, and there it comes. I scream in her face, and man, her reaction was hysterical, man. And I wouldn't even say I wouldn't say she broke character. I think she stayed in it. And that awesome. It was great. She's like, whoa! Like turned around with this shotgun. But it was great. And you know, I think the screaming bit he had me do, I think that made the final cut. I think that shot is in there with like my mouth's open and stuff. Like, I think that was when I did that. And if that really was, I'd be like, damn, he had his reasons then, didn't he? He knew what he was doing.
How was it working in an abandoned prison?
It was a jail, the Louisville City Jail, but a very, very big one. Creepy. It wasn't very old. Like, I think it was just recently kind of shut down. But it definitely added to the interrogation scenes, all of the scenes that took place in there with the cops. Like that must have been great for them too. It'd be like, hey, you guys you got a real police station to play in. You know, this isn't a set. This is a real police station. This is an authentic interrogation room. with the double-sided glass, all that stuff. I loved it. I thought it was it made the film more authentic. Gave it kind of a grimier look without having to really work for the grimy looks. The place already looked like an abandoned police station, you know.
Absolutely.
But they couldn't have got a better spot for it, and they really hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, I think you can tell it's not a set. I think you can tell that it's like, you know, at least watching it, you can tell it's like, without even having read or found out, you know, that it was a real jail or prison, I was like, that's not a set. That's actually, they got an actual location for that. And that's very convenient for a movie that takes place in a jail.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what's the best reaction that you have seen or heard from someone who's seen Malum? Like, what's your favorite reaction or tweet or, you know, anything like that you've seen?
You know, I would say there's been one favorite, but there have been some you know, I have all my buddies, colleagues and stuff, you know, that have seen it. They all like it and give me a thumbs up, you know, and that's kind of what sticks with me, you know, because there's fans that love it, and I love that they love it, and then there's fans that hate it, and they can hate what they want. But a few nice people say nice things on Instagram sometimes. It's all pretty great, you know. I don't have one specific thing. If they say yeah, it was pretty good, that's aces with me.
Yeah, fair enough. Are there currently like any plans or talks of a sequel or a prequel that you've heard of?
Well, me and Anthony, just for a fleeting moment, he mentioned, you know, kind of in passing, kind of part. We say, hey, you know, we'll work on, we'll do that in the sequel. We'll do that in the sequel, that kind of thing. But beyond that, I haven't heard any updates. It's something I would be interested, especially to see which direction it would go, or the writing would go. But I haven't heard anything. I think I'd like
to see a prequel.
Yeah, that's what some people have said was the prequel aspect, how they got to that point, how he became who he became. You know, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. We really want. Could we watch an hour and 40 minutes of just, you know, this guy, you know, a villain, or, you know, and there's a pretty glorious backstory to him already that de Blasi wrote that was awesome, you know, super awesome, very in depth. So I know where his idea, if you know, he was thinking about a prequel, I know where his would kind of go. But who knows, man? Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit with that one, because I mean, at the end of Malum, I mean, he all but kind of wins.
Yeah.
You
know, he's the redeemer. The world is over, unless he just wanted that little part of Kentucky.
For the whiskey.
Unless he wasn't that greedy, like no, the Starless Night shit, we'll keep it in Harlan County. All right.
Now, you've mentioned that you're a Joe Bob Briggs fan, just like Drew and I. And we love The Last Drive-In. What movie have you been in? Would you like to see featured in The Last Drive-In?
Actually, Haunt's already played on it.
Right, I just remembered that.
Yep, he did. Haunt played on it. And I got a feeling
now
that
when
Mutilator comes, no big deal. It was a while ago, and hell, I didn't know about it until it was happening. Like, hey, you're on fucking Joe Bob. I'm like, what?
They don't give you any kind of heads up, like, hey, we're playing your movie. Yeah,
no, I didn't hear a damn thing. But I mean, you know, Shudder. I guess they get to call, and you know, Joe Bob essentially plays movies that are on Shudder or that they acquire rights to. I got a feeling that when the Mutilator 2 drops, it'll find its way on The Last Drive-In at some point, you know. I mean, I hope so, because that's the greatest avenue, I think, to promote Mutilator 2 is Joe Bob, since I mean, it's essentially Joe Bob and Joe Bob's fans that are the cults that show love to the mutilator. You know.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you about that next. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
There's a announcement coming soon. I haven't prodded for the information beyond that. I could probably get it out of them, but I wouldn't be able to say it until
Fair
they
enough.
announce it. I have a feeling, though, it might be premiere related.
Word.
Well, nice. And where can people keep up with you on social media?
Well, I'm on, I guess, the big two. There's a Facebook, and Instagram's probably the best way. Chaney Morrow at Instagram, or Twitter, which is Morrow Chaney, for some reason. Not sure why. I'm not as active on it, but I'm on there a lot. I like to read a lot of the stuff, but I don't say a whole lot, because my sense of humor is so rarely understood over text.
I
You
understand.
kind of got to be in person to really understand that I'm joking, you know.
And yeah, we wanted to thank you for joining us today, and again to talk about Malum, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you about Mutilator 2 here in the future.
Yeah, man, sounds good. And we got Watchdog, which is the one I co-produced with Felissa Rose, Dan Kearney, Elsie Holt. That'll be down the pike here pretty soon, I believe. Late Checkout, I think, is going to debut in August. I think that's it as of now.
All right, so everybody be on the lookout. Chaney Morrow's making moves.
One day at a time.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for being on the show, man. We really appreciate you taking the time. We loved Malum. We wanted to get you on here. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, but we talked to Joshua Michael when Last Shift came out, and with us being huge fans of Malum, we thought, how fucking cool would that be if we got like the cult leader again and talked about the different movies. So we really appreciate being fans of horror and fans of the movie. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, dude.
Oh, no, man, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right, you take care.
You too, buddy.
All right, thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thank you again to Chaney Morrow for joining us today. Make sure to check out Malum, and I mean, hell, make sure to also check out Last Shift. Watch both of them. They're both amazing movies. And follow us on social media at High on Horror 420 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And follow us, and we'll give you our updates for what our next episode is. You can always send us some Puff Ass questions at highonhorror420@gmail.com. Make sure to stop by our website, and you can get previous episodes and sign up for our mailing list at highonhorror.com. And I guess I'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Man, I am glad that I don't have to do that. I know you say all the time that you're glad you just get to chill through the intro, but when I hear you doing that at the end, I go, phew, I'm just glad I get to sit here for that.
I mean, I do fuck it up, but it's kind of like muscle memory at this point where it's just like, well, if I get in a good flow to start like that, yeah. I'm pretty good.
I will say that the thing that, to the listeners out there, the thing that we have the most outtakes of is our intro and outro here. Like the intro and outro, and it's some of the funniest moments. One of these days we'll hopefully get a loop put together for you from our producer here if he ever gets off his lazy ass and does anything besides clean up after John. Josh. But, you know. Anyway.
Catch you later.
See you all next week.